Boom, we are alive today, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit earlier than normal, but heading out to the waterfalls a little later this afternoon, so I figured I'd just jump on and do it now. We're going to take a quick look at Bitcoin. I want to go over where I think we are in the market, as I think it's one of the most important things to understand. Where are we now? Not where are we going over the next 10 years, although that is a great snapshot, and you should keep it in mind, because it's super valuable to have with you while you are going through the lull of a market. We are currently in the bull market, and everything seems extremely exciting. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to take a quick look at something. Trading view. Okay, here's Bitcoin on the 6 hour. We usually like to start off with this kind of minutia area because we know we're in the bull market. As of March 11th, during the height of fear, the beginning of the pandemic, we started the bull market cycle, and from that day onwards, we have been headed towards euphoria. We're hitting into a really key area of support right now. We've been watching this area for a while, actually. It actually goes back a little further than this. We've been making the conjecture around a trading range like this as well. So one of the things that's important to do is not lean into your confirmation bias all the time, right? So I believe we're in a bull market. Clearly, I've said that every day pretty much since the pandemic started. But more importantly, we want to step out of our own way and try to argue against ourselves every now and then, just to make sure our thesis is holding weight. So previously, in multiple times, if you've been following the channel for a while, we've actually seen these really interesting areas where all of a sudden this would become like the primary support and this would be the buying climax for these much larger trading ranges. Now, I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen, but let's just take a negative downside look here. That would be approximately a 50% drop with a return to $28,000 if that were to happen, where we do see some type of larger crazy trading range that may be extended through May and had us going up higher. I do not believe that's the case. I do not believe that this is a probability at this moment. There's just too much potential buying power sitting on the side still. And this constant declination in supply is important. And we've gone over this in our some of our other deeper dive reviews into the current liquid supply that's on open exchanges right now. So one of the things I wanted to go over today was called the Puel multiple. This is a little bit of data from a Glassnode, but you can also find it other areas on the internet. The Puel multiple, again, is showing different halvings and sequences here. Again, what I like to, and again, for those of you that are studying with us, look at the beauty of these trading ranges we've had since 2013. Trading range, new high, return to the bottom of the which was then the top of the previous trading range. And again, break above, move up, break back down below. And what I think is nice here is that you could actually gives a bit of a clearer picture for the longer term trading range. For Bitcoin specifically as well, we've been trading in the further out region, or one of the initial smaller accumulation patterns back around between March, basically 2018, the selling climax of around $6,200. So what's nice about this is it just shows basically a relationship between how many holders and the price of Bitcoin that there is. So I've kind of consistently asserted my belief that we are in approximately 19ths the way through the bull market, just a little bit over half. And because if you look back to the congruent data, I could probably even include 2013 here. Yeah, here we go. Let's go back a little further. Yeah, okay. We're not in the oversold area, or sorry, overbought area quite yet. The price has gone much higher, but the relationship of holders is actually keeping us really steady. And we've seen this as well. There's a few other ways to kind of initiate our thought process. You can see the hodl waves is another one so as we get closer and closer to the end, I like to increase my study of finding out where I think the top is going to be. Before we got to where we are today, I said somewhere between 120 and 280 is my kind of target. And as we get closer, it's leaning less likely that we go ridiculously high. But also I think it's an important part to remember that when people start talking about super cycle theories and how Bitcoin is just going to go to $1 million right now, that's usually the sign that we're well on our way to near the end of the bull market, when all these new absurd ideas come out about how much higher Bitcoin can go. Now, again, this leaves that kind of blank preface open between, do we go to 150 and turn around for a smaller reaccumulation channel this time, potentially going much higher on a much shorter distance after a potential breakdown of this current price trend. And the HODL waves again here shows us that since we started to leave around the $20,000 mark for Bitcoin, the average wallet cycle time is around 10 years now. So most of the people where we're sitting at like the majority of the hodling is I love that this term has caught on, is in the 10-year range. So that means these are longer term investment practitioners who are really showing the stability of the market right now. There's another way to kind of look at this as we look at the Puel multiple, and again I want to make my conjecture here that we are not at the end of this market cycle, but we are near the end. And as we start to peak out here, we're going to want to keep a really close eye on the finality. Anything after 80K for me is gravy. I'll probably shave a few % off here and there as we go up past that mark. And then always keep a little bit of fodder in the can. And again, there is no direct perspective for what and how much someone should and should not risk, and how much or how little profit should be taken based off the portfolio allocations. Generally, I'm going to be using more exotic options for covering the downside at this particular moment, because it's just easier than actually exiting a position, and it acts more like insurance, so I can enjoy part of the ride instead of getting maybe caught out of some of the positions. So again, the important part here, higher and higher levels of oversold. You're going to start to hear more and more things like Bitcoin super cycle. You're going to start to hear more things that how human nature has changed. It's different this time. And this has happened every bull market that I've been alive and cognizant to witness it, is that the euphoria sets in. People start to recognize the 10-year vision. And you get the idea that blockchain is going to change everything. Like, this is it. Where countries are going to start using it right around the corner. And again, that's usually how we can tell that we're near the top. So there's another few charts here I liked. The stock to flow deflection is quite interesting. Again, we're showing clearly more accumulation. We're still below we're still in an accumulation zone to some degree. So that's quite nice. Where was the other one? Oh yeah, and the hash ribbon. So the hash ribbon, again, last time it fired was around that at 19,000, and then really fired off at around 9 grand. And this is the same trading range, the first reaccumulation pattern we were watching here basically June 1st, effectively that trading range started. So again, as we get closer and closer to the end, more of what I start to do is just, okay, well, how close to the end are we? Again, we're seeing the network value to transactions isn't peaking out right now. So there's a high likelihood that we actually just continue upwards from this point. But again, keep in mind, my argument of conjecture here would be that we could see a breakdown of a trading range to do something like this. Again, it's not unprobable, right? Like if you're playing in the game of the world of probabilities and randomness, you have to take into account that there could be a quick little spike down here. Although again, it doesn't look like that's the case. We've stayed ultimately very bullish. And again, this declining volume signature for now is bullish. These big supply checks were great to see. And we can kind of give that a little bit more of a deeper look here with the exchange balance stacked, or is it just percent? I think maybe it's just percent here. Exchange balance percent. Yeah. Okay. So this is I really like this. There's just this understanding I think is important for most people to grasp. See how we've just been consistently declining this orange line. This is the amount of Bitcoin that's on open exchanges at the moment, and the declination shows that large accumulators are still buying Bitcoin and locking it away and turning it into cold wallet storage effectively. And this is important because as this happens, the volatility of Bitcoin's price increases significantly. If we do go to, say, $280,000, there will be very few people buying and or selling at that price. And then whales will come in and just go, and the floor will basically drop out. That's usually how distribution starts, is that there's very little buy pressure actually keeping us up that high, because you only need one person selling and one person buying even a tenth of a Bitcoin at $280,000 for that wick to trigger and show us this absurd price. Yet again, for the time being, we're still witnessing a decrease in the amount of Bitcoin on the open markets. And this to me signals that we are still not at the end of this cycle. Once this turns around and we start to see a day-over-day increase of open Bitcoin coming onto the exchanges, this will be another clear indicator for me that the market cycle is over. And the only interesting conjecture we could make here, because maybe I'm wrong about the super cycle idea, and there is just this drastic thing that has changed forevermore, and we've never seen anything like it. And this is always a possibility. I can't factor out a potential black swan. So just for now, let's include it into the long-term potentiality. We're like, oh, there's bigger institutions. It's more, long-term thinkers that are investing in Bitcoin, etc. So therefore, the liquid supply is just going to keep decreasing. The volatility will continue to increase, and the price might just go up. That's usually not how this works, just because the people that are buying a significant amount of it don't have to sell a crap ton of it if the price is up at 280 grand, and the buyers are so thin because one institution's probably not going to buy from another institution at this extraordinarily high price markup, and it would likely be just very few thin retail hands holding the market price up at these particular points. So as we're declining, we could see much higher price cycles. Again, I'm not factoring out the $280,000 price. I'm just taking a look at some of the areas where even the reserve risk ratio right now, we've been running pretty hot. So if we go a little closer, again, we get this nice range where technically, we are in another area of accumulation, and we haven't seen, we're just in another area of accumulation again, basically, right? Even if we have a lower dip, which I doubt we will, there's just too much buying power on the sidelines. I don't know how long we would hold if we were to dip. Right? Let's say, could we get to the 34,000? So again, what I try to do is, instead of just consistently confirming my bias, which again, I believe we are right in the middle of the bull market effectively, we try to make arguments against our main thesis just to see what the downside potentials are, and should there be a concern if the portfolio needs to be rebalanced, etc. Yeah, a big part of the question is, where's your risk? Are you adjusting for that risk? And are you long or short in your positions? And effectively, we definitely shouldn't be short in your positions during a bull market. Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There was one more here I wanted to go over. Which one was it? Oh, well, realized cap hodl waves is nice too. Just from a visual perspective, I think this is important. Again, you can see that where we're at right now is the majority of people have bought within the last 2 to 3 year mark, and you've got a very thin hand supply of the 24 hours to 1 day, 1 week. Now, oddly enough, though, I wonder if this 1 week to 1 month is also represented somewhere in the perpetual funding rate. Yeah, here we go. Futures perpetual funding rate. So this is another interesting idea. As you could see, we had a massive amount of longs come in at around $61,000, and the funding rate was extraordinarily high. I think I was getting like 100% APY on my loaned out USDT at this moment because of that. Again, this is important to keep in mind because a lot of big traders and funds will use leverage to their advantage, and they have a shit ton of underlying collateral. So they're not usually going heavy leverage, but it will start to build up over time where you just see these extraordinarily high funding rates, and then this kind of the market cycle reset on March 15th, and we can see that here too. March 15th, boom, there was the perpetual fund reset date, bang, right on the around the 55,000 mark, and again, as you can tell, we're not extraordinarily overrun in the futures index as well. So this leads me to believe that we could see Bitcoin's price cycle up, and again, I'm still leaning into that it's going to go up here at this particular trend line, not down. But again, the goal of today's video is just to try to make conjecture and say, well, look, this is a possibility that this is a primary support. This was our buying climax, and we've seen this before. And again, for any of you that don't know Benoit Mandelbrot, I suggest this book. I've just finished it. Mandelbrot. First off, he's the Polish-French-American mathematician, polymath with broad interest in practical sciences, specifically labeled The Art of Roughness, Physical Phenomenon, and the Uncontrolled Element in Life. If you do your research and you know why I like Nassim Taleb, you will very clearly understand also why I like Benoit Mandelbrot. He was basically the creator of the fractal Mandelbrot set. And a lot of this stuff is fractal mathematics. And It's a very difficult conjecture to make because it involves a little bit more, let's say, woo than most people are used to in mathematics formula, but it is extremely valuable, and he's got a book called Misbehavior of Markets. This is a fun read. There it is, The Misbehavior of Markets. I definitely suggest adding it to the list. I had a lot of fun reading this one. Where is it here? Again, if you happen to be interested in mathematics and scientific endeavor and reading and financial markets, this is a win. This just overall is a great win. He's got a bunch of other books too. Again, I think that there's a really, really nice conceptual thesis underlying his whole mathematical premise here. It does align with Nassim Taleb's, and for good reason. Is fractals by nature are a part of the universe we live in. We can literally create market cycles by running these fractal power sequences. So it's important to remember how the markets function. So we could just be witnessing like this could be a larger fractal trading range. There's nothing to say that there's evidence to say that is clearly a possibility. So we don't ignore the black swans. We include them in our thesis, and we move forward and adjust accordingly. Especially that's why we aim so specifically at the market cycle low, because it is a visceral moment and it is easy to recognize. Once you recognize the reason why a market cycle low takes place, you can generally often recognize some of the best places to take an entry, which would be the day they declared the pandemic officially. And every day after that pandemic, we've been leaning more and more into euphoria. I mean, think about it. I'm probably going to go to Mexico soon. I mean, traveling is opening up. People are visiting. I saw like a bunch of people downtown yesterday. Life's returning to normal. And as that happens, the euphoria of the market cycle will increase, and we'll continue down this kind of thing. So anyways, that's just my conjecture today. I know I had photos of Cardano and Aave on the front. Just as a heads up, me and the guy, Charlie, shout out to Charles, who helps me make the thumbnails. We don't even talk. I just say make a thumbnail. I'll riff around it. It's unimportant, I think, for the most part. So for those of you that are expecting me to look at something exactly, we just kind of go with what's easy. We provide such a high level value of content. I think you guys are able to discern the difference between why we use a clickbaity thumbnail and then the content that we actually provide right after that moment. So I hope today's video was helpful. Please remember to go down to any of these social media links below and follow us because that helps support the Arcane Bear family. Let's see. If you guys want to know more of my thoughts about the rest of our venture capital portfolio, I definitely suggest joining the private group, because remember, ladies and gentlemen, one of the diseases of the early stage investor and trader is a lack of education and all this over emotional trading, getting in and getting out of a position and making and then losing money, and it's really, the mistakes are costing you more than you would ever want to contend with. So if you consider yourself adventurous and like trying new things, go to arcanebear.com/private in the links down below and join the private group, because remember, there's no risk for you. If you sign up and you're not happy, we'll give you a refund. But we've had so few unhappy people. There are over 800 private members in the group right now. And our focus is going to be primarily on venture capital, because we've had the most successful performance with all of that. Multiple entries we made in early May, June are all over 5,000%, which is just absurd. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know how to time a market cycle, you don't need leverage. So we'll keep it at that. Anyways, wait, I want to go over one more thing. Yeah, I just want to do one more thing here before I end today's episode. Just keeping it short. I've got some stuff to do. If we go back to this one, everyone, this is Kiva. This is a great platform. It is a 501(c) nonprofit, and they help make loans to underbanked and underserved entrepreneurs around the world. And every month or every randomly week, when we feel like we remember to do it, we like to find people that are entrepreneurs that we think deserve the help, and we go make a loan to them. So we're going to take a look at Farzona here. She's in Tajikistan, beautiful country, for 26 months. This is her. Oh no, it's been funded already. We got to go back. That's too bad. Let's hear. Come on. See, this is how fast it is. You got to get in on these entrepreneurs and help them create their successful businesses. So again, these loans get paid back at the end of the loan cycle, guys. So not only are you helping an entrepreneur, but you get that money and can re-lend it back out. So let's take another one. I liked the country Tajikistan. That's why I was aiming there. I also like, let's see, cattle feed. Okay. We like agriculture and farming. El Salvador, I've been there as well. Great country, just north of us. 65 days left. She needs $350. She's 61 years old. She's married. Her husband is also a laborer, but several years ago he had an illness that made it impossible for him to work. They have 5 children who are now dependent on them. So Enna works in a nixtamal corn mill. She also has a business selling staple goods. She decided to do this extra side hustle to support her husband with the household expenses by also raising cattle. She needs a loan to buy the concentrated feed for cattle and will also buy the barbed wire fence to keep them in. Awesome. They've got a loan risk partner of almost 5, which is amazing. It's a great way to go. So Enma, we're going to fund your whole thing today, the whole $350. We're going to lend that to you. Good luck with your cattle. We hope it's a successful endeavor. I know El Salvador can be hot, so we're sending you good. We'll do a rain dance for you as well. They're also doing wage matching. So technically we only need to put in half. Okay, well, let's do that. Let's oh, it's too late. We'll just pay for the whole thing. It's fine. We're going to remove the donation to Kiva today just because, or we're going to only go to $10. And then there we go. Enma, good luck with your entrepreneurial endeavors. Again, this is just a way we like to give back with the Arcane Bear. Hold on. It's a way we like to give back, show that our community, that our consistent interest in helping entrepreneurs grow. And just like you guys, the idea about the underbanked and the underserved, we think is such a valuable use case of the blockchain and Bitcoin sector. Kiva is a wonderful platform. If you haven't yet, you can also join Kiva in the links down below, and you can join our Kiva team. We have currently given, we're just going to tweet this too. So if you haven't followed us on Twitter, definitely go follow us on Twitter. I just like retweeting these because it helps Kiva out as well, raise awareness for Kiva. So if you haven't yet, you can join Kiva by following us on the links below. And we can work as a team together. So this is kind of a fun side feature. So if you and your business also want to make, and it's not sponsored by Kiva, guys. I just fucking love Kiva. So keep this in mind. If you and your business wanted to open up, you can open up your team. So here's the Arcane Bear team. This is kind of fun. So when you join those links below, we can make loans together. So currently, since we started our Kiva account, alongside the team, we've lent over $9,900 to entrepreneurs around the world in agriculture, food, retail, arts, services, and education. 124 loans in total. That's around 2.2 loans per member. Great work, guys. That's 56 Arcane Bear family who've joined in on the Kiva platform making loans. And again, remember, guys, this money comes back to us. So if you look at my current Arcane Bear portfolio, you can see we've lent out $4,000 to entrepreneurs around the world. And then here, as some of them have started to repay us, we've got Belinda, who's 14% repaid her loan, 11% repaid on this loan. And slowly these loans get repaid back, and then I can re-lend it out. The Arcane Bear family re-lends it out each time to fund and help other entrepreneurs. So that, this is kind of a fun thing too. I know I just kind of maybe a little bit of a longer rant on Kiva. Ranking in businesses, we are the #1 again last month. Congratulations, Bear family. That's 2 to 3 months in a row we have been the top business on fucking Kiva. Thank you guys for that. Not the biggest funder, but the biggest new member growth. And again, my goal here is not only to help underbanked entrepreneurs, but to help highlight Kiva, because as a nonprofit, they have a difficult time marketing and advertising because we hold different standards to businesses that are for-profit and that are nonprofit. So people like me, I think it's our duty to stand up and raise the flag of amazing, the few amazing nonprofits out there, again, that are basically helping entrepreneurs. Again, these are no APY loans that they could never get by going to a bank, and we support entrepreneurs from around the world by using this website. So I really like what Kiva has built here. Again, it's that intersection between technology and finance that we are all so deeply interested in. Anyways, thank you guys for that. I hope you I hope you guys have a great day. That was the last part of today's live stream. Again, we'll see you on the next episode. Remember to follow us in the links below. anyways, we'll leave it at that. You guys are fantastic.